Hello everyone, it's Dante Darby with MUO here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the CZUR Fancy S Pro. This device is definitely very interesting, and you're going to note that I talk about its versatility and flexibility very often. It is going to be $119 for the model that we have here. That's going to be without the folding mat, and it's $99 if you'd like to downgrade to the 8 megapixel version. To add that folding mat to your purchase with either model, it's going to be an additional $30. Now, I will say when it comes to the value, definitely going to be talking about that a lot in terms of what it can do for content creation, education, and business. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and dive in and take a look. Starting with the specs, we're going to be looking at a resolution of 4000 by 3000 and a 12 megapixel sensor powering this device. It is going to be 1080p, 60 frames per second at your typical aspect ratio. However, the 4K option is going to be limited to 15 frames per second, and it is going to be an aspect ratio of 4:3. Though it is a small drawback, all in all, specs of the device are really unique. Also, something that we're going to talk about a lot here is going to be the rotatable camera that you can rotate 180 degrees, and it's going to be one of my favorite features of this device. But moving on to the design, let's go ahead and talk about that because that's also one of this device's strong suits. You're going to have unique flexibility when it comes to being able to tilt your camera down or at you. That's where the webcam action comes in. You do have quick access to everything you would need right here on the back of the device. So what I'm talking about here is going to be the exposure buttons, the autofocus and single focus switch, and the ability to switch from single focus to continuous focus. So that just means that you're only going to focus once on your subject versus continuously focusing on your subject. Now, there is a built-in light as well with 3 different lighting modes that you can take advantage of. It is a little bit harsh, but it is definitely going to be better than nothing if you're in a pinch, and it's going to work great in low light situations where you've got no other options. Now, I love talking about the content creation features, but first we're going to start with scanning. It's going to be able to scan 1 scan per second and has some really unique features built in, like auto scan, which will scan as you turn the page, as well as curve flattening, which is going to help for eliminating that curve that you get from scanning books. Now, it does recognize over 180 languages, very good functionality there, and it is going to export in the following formats that I'm going to list above over here. So, pretty solid. We will talk a lot more about the features as we do an overview of the software, but before we do that, let's go ahead and talk about the content creation and video use for the device. When it comes to content creation, now we can finally talk about the bread and butter here. This is a very unique 3-in-1, and I really see this being a very good tool for people who are looking for a webcam because you can tilt your camera for 180 degrees. You can make portrait or landscape content. It's going to be super great for people who are trying to make YouTube Reels, Instagram content, or TikTok content, and you're going to be able to do it all from your computer, which is pretty unique. No other webcam that I know of is going to be able to rotate in that way, and you can take advantage of that light as well. Really unique here. I actually was really impressed with what it can do, and one of the reasons why I do see that potential is because if you're a beginner and you're starting with nothing, you're going to have some unique tools and functionality built into this device. And I really think that a lot of people are going to be able to do a lot of different types of content if they get creative with it. If you are somebody who's a gamer, you're going to be able to tilt the camera down, show off your controller or keyboard and what you're doing. But if you are a teacher or a content creator who's into like music, or if you're an artist, being able to show that those strokes of your pen, being able to show off the instrument, what chords you're hitting, it's going to be great. I think that a lot of people are going to be able to get really creative once again with what they can use this device for. And I love that you can actually rotate that camera as well. So for content creators and you video makers out there, or even if you're just live streaming, keep your eye out on this device and definitely do some due diligence there because I think you're going to be pretty impressed with what it can do for you. So moving on to the software, we're going to talk about the CZUR Fancy S software. Let's go ahead and take a seat, pull up the screen. Let me walk you through this and what you can use with this device. All right, everyone, and I'm gonna give you a quick overview of the CZUR software that's gonna be included with your purchase. If you use your serial number at the bottom, that will also work as a permanent license key for this software. You'll create an account at the top right. It'll only ask for a few pieces of information and that serial number. You'll be good to go. One really cool thing is the batch editing option that gives you a few different things that you can edit, like rotating, changing color modes, cropping, deleting if you want to get rid of everything all at once, as well as a few other options like watermark, which will save a lot of people a lot of time. And you'll see your export options here as well. We'll circle back to those, but for now, let's go ahead and scan something so I can show you some of the features here. You're gonna have a few different color modes that you can use, as well as the processing method that's gonna work best. It will show you that visual example. You can tweak these settings if you select them, but we're gonna go ahead and do the stock default settings for facing pages, which is what we've got going on right here. Before we do that, let's go ahead and show you the auto scan. That's actually a really cool feature. I'm gonna go ahead and trigger the first scan, but if I would have waited, it probably would have just done it automatically. I've seen it do it before. What's really awesome about this is as you go through, you switch these pages and it's gonna scan that automatically. Sometimes it will miss a page. I've noticed that the software is pretty accurate, but that does happen from time to time. If that does happen, you can reflip the pages or trigger it manually. The cool thing about that as well is that, let's say, for example, you accidentally scan a page twice. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back before it gets the new one. There we go. We can actually leave here and I'll show you what you can do. You cannot go back until you're done processing. Looks like I just jumped the gun there. And so you can actually go through and you can select individual items and you can delete them that way if you'd like to delete them. We went ahead and removed 2 from the list here. So this batch editing feature is really cool and it's gonna allow you to export in a few different options like Word, Excel, PDF, and TIFF, to name a few. So when it comes to the CZUR Fancy S Pro, it's definitely a lot more than meets the eye. You're gonna get a very powerful webcam, document camera, and scanner all in one with flexibility and versatility. I see, once again, huge potential for education, business, as well as content creators. If you're somebody who's just starting out, I do think that the versatility here does put it up there with some of those webcams around that price point. Though it may not be that same resolution and frame rate, I think you're gonna go a lot farther with that flexibility and the versatility, being able to get that at that perfect level you want. And if you are somebody who could take advantage of being able to tilt that camera down, show your audience what you're doing on your desk or table, huge potential. Whether you're an artist, like a guitarist who's trying to show maybe some students how to play the instrument, you can get whatever angle you'd need to get with that. And it's gonna have a very small form factor, very compact, and you're gonna appreciate having it on your desk as a tool. I think CZUR's done a good job here at nailing the basics when it comes to the scanning functionality. They're tried, true, and tested in that market, so it's not a surprise. But they've got an interesting device here when it comes to content creation. I do see this thing easily replacing some webcams with additional functionality as well. So all in all, we'd love to hear some feedback from you. If you would love to tell us what interests you about this product or what brought you to looking at it. We'd also love to hear if you've been able to test it out, gotten your hands on it, what you thought about it, what your experience was like. As always, thanks for watching. You have a great day.